Thank you for joining us with The Kingdom is Within, the unspoken truths about the Messiah Jesus, a black extraterrestrial being. I thank you for joining us. I know you had a lot of things you could have been doing, but you decided to tune into this program, and we're going to make it worth your while. What we're doing is we're giving information that's based on truth and facts. We have to put this information out because it's a very critical time that we're having. Our people are in trouble, and nobody seems to know. Nobody seems to really care. And all we want to do is play around and play games and go to games and watch games and do all kind of nonsense, entertainment and all this kind of nonsense to keep us away from what they're doing. And a lot of times I find our people and a lot of ministers in the church, and we are running around here complaining that the devil is being a devil. Like my little young granddaughter did to her sister, the devil is going to be a devil. We've been a devil for 400 years, and we run around here complaining that the devil is being a devil. So we are putting this program out, and we're giving information because it's time for us to stop telling this story about Jesus died for our sins. This is the #1 problem in our community, and I'm going to share with you some things that will make your light bulb come off, to make you click, for you to say, you know what, this is starting to make sense. I know it sounds redundant. I say things that may sound redundant, but after 400 years of mental conditioning, after 400 years of indoctrination, it takes redundancy to say something over and over and over to get the point. It's like my mother, my grandmother. They heard me say this for years, and it just did not penetrate for quite a while. So that's why I'm being redundant in the things that I say, so it can come through, so it can get through. And I don't know what it's going to take, so I try to say it in different ways. With intellectuals, you have to kind of be nice about the way you say things. With street people, I can say things to be a little bit more clearer. But to be specific about why we're doing this program is because I'm very clear as to what needs to be done today. I was talking about this book called David Walker's Appeal, and I'm going to get to that in a little while. David Walker's Appeal is a very important book. Every black household must have a copy of this book called David Walker's Appeal. This book was written in 1829, and for what this brother wrote, they killed him in 1830. And I'm going to share with you something in the book of Revelation, because you have to understand something. I don't know many churches that are preaching from the perspective of the prophecies that are taking place. They have this saying going around talking about there's nothing sure but death and taxes. Let me tell you something. There's nothing sure but life and the fulfillment of prophecy. Damn the death and taxes, because there's no such thing as death, and there's no such thing as taxes if you know what to stand on with the government. And when it comes to Abraham's children, the children of the slaves, all you have to do is stand on what's called the 1857 Dred Scott decision. That Dred Scott decision is very clear when it tells us that no descendant of an African slave can be a citizen in the state in which you live or in these United States. So that means that every descendant of an African slave that pay a tax, you do not have to pay that tax because a Supreme Court decision said that you are not a citizen. And they just passed the 13th, 14th Amendment talking about everybody born in this country are citizens. Well, that was a flim-flam, because remember, they were dealing with slaves, people that had been, their intellect had been totally taken away from them, so they could tell our people anything. And we still, at this day and time, we cannot allow these people to just keep telling us anything. We are intellectuals, we are intelligent, we are the descendants of these people that they reduce their mentalities down to that of a beast where they can tell them anything. So with the book of David Walker, this was a brother who was in a meeting with slave owners when they was having a meeting saying that we must reduce these people's mentality down to that of a beast so that they would absolutely obsess and possess their apathy. Apathy means that you have just accepted things the way they are. And it would get them to the point that they would not even consider changing anything. So this is what these people were talking about doing in 1829 at a meeting that he was at. They were talking about doing it before then, but at this meeting, they didn't have no problem with him sitting there because they thought he was one of these ignorant slaves. They thought he was one of the people that they had reduced his mentality and removed his intellect. But he fooled him because the brother was very eloquent with the way he wrote this book. And he wrote it in 1829. Because of what he wrote, they killed him in 1830. But he said his life belonged to God. He didn't care nothing about that. So obviously, this brother's spirit moved him to do what he did, because when you read this book, it's taking you back in time and it's showing you exactly what these people did. So he asked his slave a question. And listen to what this grown man said. Forget him being a slave. It was a grown black man that said, a nigger should not have enough sense, than just enough sense to work for his master. Now this is what came out of the mouth of a grown black man. So it goes to show you exactly what they were doing. This was their mission, and this is what they had accomplished with our people. Now just think about that. The door to his common sense had been completely shut. And that is what has happened to us to this day. You got a lot of niggas running around and talking about, oh, I got a degree in this and I got a degree in that. Nigga, that don't mean nothing. You got a degree from Mr. Gilmore's school. You got a degree from what the slave master indoctrinated you with what he wanted you to believe. You do not have a degree in real education. Real education is based on truth backed by facts. All them degrees you got don't mean nothing because you can't prove it. Other than math and science, forget about it. Everything else they lied about. They can't lie about math and they can't lie about science. Well, I don't know now. They're lying about science too now. So, you know, these people are liars by nature. This is what they do. And our people run around here complaining at the devil being the devil. Oh my God. What else can the devil be but a devil? And on that note, it's important to understand the nature of a people, because all my life I always wondered, what's wrong with these people? We were some of the first children to go to Gage Park when it was all white over near Marquette Park. I will never forget this long as I live. When we moved over there, I got two friends of mine there. We were the first black families living over in that area. I will never forget riding through the neighborhood. They had black men hanging from their porches for Halloween. This was these people. We going to school, they got black men laying in coffins and stuff. We had to be escorted with policemen. So these people started doing things to us, we started doing things to them, and that was the way it was back in those days. So all my life I was questioning what was wrong with these people. And then getting off into the street after the race riots and everything, robbing white stores. I'm just being real about this. My mother didn't raise me to rob businesses. I never robbed a black business. So something happened to my mentality to make me do the things that I did, and I would never forget, things can happen that can completely change your life and completely change the way you think. I would never forget us being on the block and some white boys riding down the street shooting at us, and we jumped behind cars. Before they got to the corner, the white police came around the corner and pulled up, break it up, what's happening? We say, hey, the white boys shooting at us. Instead of them chasing them white boys, they said, okay, break it up. And they creeped off. At 15 years old, this changed my whole state of mind. I was like, oh, we can't trust them. So what I'm saying is that this one incident changed my whole mentality and took me into another level of thinking. So being from that type of environment, I can honestly say that it prepared me for the type of man that I had to be when dealing with white folks. After getting out of the penitentiary, out of Stateville in '81, I was self-employed. I've been self-employed 30 years, man, training brothers, getting them out of gangs and out of the drug game, teaching them construction, giving them an alternative way to think, an alternative way to earn a living. So down in Atlanta, when we moved to Atlanta, I remember being down there, and the white builders would say, well, you know, we pay you when we feel like it. Whoa, wait a minute, what did you say? So my background prepared me for the type of man that I had to be with these white folks. They do not respect no niggas that be bowing their head and kowtowing to them and singing and dancing. I ain't a singing and dancing kind of nigga. So when they tell me something like that, I was the type of brother, I'm confrontational anyway. So when they say that to me, it was a whole nother ball game. For instance, to give you an example. When I got to Atlanta, them white folks treat niggas down there like we were still on the plantation. Because I had a lot of dealers say, well, Mac, where you from? And I wondered why would so many of them keep asking me that and asking me that. And it dawned on me, oh, because they're not used to niggas talking to them like that. And give you an example. One builder told me, he said, well, I'm going to pay you when I feel like it. I said, hold it, partner. Let me do me a favor. He said, what? I said, I need you to take down my name. I need you to take down my social security number and my birthday. He said, what do I need this for? I said, I want you to call the Chicago Police Department and tell them the facts you over the profile of this character. I said, when you get that profile, you think about if you want to say that to me again or not. You don't know nothing about me. I said, now I'm coming to your house to get my check, and you better have it when I get there. He said, no, meet me at the gas station. But see, this is what I'm saying. You have to talk to these people a certain kind of way. They only respect us when we are being men to them, and we standing up and we coming on with it. That bending over and talking to them like, okay, well, you know, you can pay me. No, we ain't doing none of that. So what I'm saying is that they only respect us when we are being men. They do not respect our people. They do not respect all them politicians and stuff, because them niggas ain't being men. Them women ain't being real women. They down there allowing the white folks to do whatever they want to do. And I learned that in Atlanta with them people, they just want to do what they want to do, but you can't do what you want to do with me. I'm not that type of person. It don't run in my blood. And we got a lot of our people that feel the same way. So I've always said that if you got the people that want to deal with them white folks and do what they let them white folks do what they want to do, look, I'm all for separation. Because the scripture is also very clear about the separation of the sheep and the goat. We are the only animals on this planet that have integrated along with the wolves. We are the lost sheep that Jesus was looking for. We the lost sheep that Jesus was talking about. And we have integrated amongst the wolves, and we don't have a clue what we're dealing with. I'm getting to the nature of these people because it's critical for you to know the nature of a people. They say that this is Satan's world and the world is ruled by devils. Well, what color are the people that rule the world? I'm not going to say what color are they, because they're anything but white. We've been used to calling them white, but these people are not white. Let's be clear about that. White is purity. So ain't nothing white about these people. These people are mountainous Caucasians, or what you want to call Caucasus Asians, a dead Asian. You have to know the words that they're dealing with, Caucasoids, whatever you want to call them, but they are not white. There's nothing pure about these people. And so I'm going to get away from calling them white folks too. But the thing is, the nature of these people, Elijah Muhammad said, these people are the devils that you've been reading about. Nobody's talking about that no more. But I've always asked the question, even in Atlanta, what's wrong with these people? Because the way they was trying to treat us down there, and I got tired of being confrontational with them. So I was asking that question, and I was led to read Elijah Muhammad's books. That's why I be espousing Elijah Muhammad. He was truly a messenger. Not until I read what this man said about this race of people did it click in my mind. I said, oh my God, that's what's wrong. That's what's wrong with these people. That's why these people are acting the way they act. They cannot help themselves. It is in their nature to do what they do. And I'm explaining that. Knowing the nature of a people, you can deal with them accordingly. It's like a woman having a man that she thinks is a virtuous man, but he is a hoe and he ain't letting turn down nothing but his shirt collar. It's like a man having a woman that he thinks is a virtuous woman, but she's really a hoe undercover, and she's throwing it out there left and right out of both draw legs. But the point is, when you know the nature of this person, now you can deal with that person according to their nature. You can deal with them accordingly. You're not dealing with them in one way because you're thinking about them one way. You know exactly who you're dealing with, and you know exactly how to deal with them. That's why it's important for us to know the nature of these Caucasians so we can know exactly how to deal with them. And nobody's talking about these people are the devils you've been reading about. These people are the devils that you're reading about. The book, Malachi wrote this book, this brother I've been talking about. This brother here is come to the planet. This brother has not just been born, this brother has been sent. You have those of us on the planet that are born, then you have those that have been sent to us. Elijah was a brother who had been sent. In the book of Malachi, it said, before that dreadful day of the Lord, I will first send you Elijah. In the Jewish stores, they sell these cups for Elijah. In Jewish households, they have their table set and they have an empty seat for a seat and a plate for Elijah. They are expecting Elijah to return, but what they don't get is that Elijah had been here and gone. Elijah was Elijah Muhammad, who came here before that dreadful day of the Lord. And when Martin Luther King went to meet with Elijah, when he came to Chicago, and listen to this, Dr. King said, out of all the places I've been, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, Mississippi, Louisiana, he said, I didn't witness real racism till I came to Chicago. Now listen to that. While we thinking the devils are down in the south, no, the real devils are up here in the north, because they smiling in our faces and they doing things behind our backs. I prefer to deal with the white racists that I know what you are. I prefer to deal with them like the Ku Klux Klan. I ain't got no problem with the Klan. I know how they feel, no problem. I can deal with them accordingly because you know their nature. It's these devils up here in Chicago that's running through our neighborhoods and smiling in our faces and doing these things behind our backs. Prior to it, they called the Civil Rights Bill. They gave us the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Bill. Prior to that, these people was doing things out in the open. They were doing things overtly. Now, when they passed these laws and bills, now they went covert. They went from doing things in the open to doing things behind closed doors. This is important. Why did they have to give us the Civil Rights Bill? Why did they have to give us the Voting Rights Act? Because we are not citizens, and we have to acknowledge that. Ain't nobody else have to have no damn Civil Rights Bill and no Voting Rights Act. And then they got to go back and look at it all over again every period of time. Now, don't that tell you something? Back to the man in the David Walker's appeal. A nigga ought not have enough sense, but enough sense to work for his master. And that's the kind of sense that we still got to this day. Because the door to that man's common sense had been completely shut. And the door to our common sense had been completely shut. There's only a few of us who have went through their schools, and I always wonder why I couldn't get through their school. I just couldn't get it. And I used to think there was something inadequate about me until I was the only black in a history class at Gage Park, and I was the only black that got 100 on the history test. So I was the only one in that room that did it, and all the white kids were looking at me, and I knew then that I said, no, I know ain't nothing wrong with me, I just can't get with this educational system. There's something about me that's not supposed to get into this system, so I just dropped out of school. Damn this shit. I'm just being honest. So the bottom line is that I'm glad I did, because the door to my common sense was never closed. I always ask questions, and I know if I even went to college, I'd have been the one that they put out the class anyway, because I'd have been like, hold it, teacher. That shit don't make no sense. I don't give a damn what you're talking about. If it don't make no sense, it don't make no sense. And that's what we have to do. We have to be the ones that start questioning these things. We ain't questioning nothing. And then when you come into their class, they want to sit up here and say, oh, you a troublemaker. What make me a troublemaker? Because I'm asking questions. Just like if I was going to a theologian school, and they sit up and try to tell me that, you know, God sent his son down here, and we beat on him, and we kicked him in the ass, and we jumped on him, and we spit on him, and we killed God's son. Hold it. Houston, we got a problem. See, I'd have been the troublemaker in that class, because you are not getting ready to convince me that you killed God's son. That is not going to take place. Now, where did we get that story from? We got that story on the plantation. And you got to know, everybody talking about, well, we're Baptists, and we're Methodists, and we're this, and we're that. No. You all are factions of the Catholic Church. Why? Because you all are still telling the Catholic story. That story came from the Catholic Church. And then the split between the Catholics and the Protestants was, in the earlier times, maybe 1500s, Martin Luther and his people were protesting the Catholic Church. But they wasn't protesting that story. They were protesting other things. So during the time of their protesting, they became known as the Protestants, because they were the first protesters. These first people who followed Martin Luther became known as the Lutherans. And as they broke up and split up, but remember, they were still telling the story that they killed God's son. Then you had those that became Baptists, said, we believe in baptism. So they were the Baptists. And then others said, we believe in a new method of doing things. These are the Methodists. Then you had the Jehovah's Witnesses. We believe in Jehovah's God, Jehovah's Witnesses. And then those want to keep the 7-day holy, the 7-day Adventists. And then the niggas tried to get into the Methodist group. They wouldn't allow no niggas to get into the Methodist group, so they started the African Methodist Episcopal and all this nonsense. But the bottom line is that niggas couldn't be Jehovah's Witnesses, and that's the hardest nut to crack, because they are to this day, and this is to the Jehovah's Witnesses, please wake up and snap to attention. You all are knocking on our people's door with these images of nothing but white people. Do you know that there's a time when no niggas could be Jehovah's Witnesses? And you are knocking at our people's door. The only reason they allowed you niggas to get into the Jehovah's Witness faith is so they can build more kingdom halls, so they can bring in more money from the black community. And now you got all these Jehovah's Witnesses running around and passing out their literature. I grabbed some literature from a woman that's Jehovah's Witness, and she said, well, your brother here, and I took her literature. So I said, hold it, sister. So I got one of my CDs. I said, here, take this. Oh, no, we can't watch it like that. I said, well, here, just says, no. She threw her hands up like I was handing her a plague. I mean, seriously, these people are crazy. All of the books that they have, there's the only black images in these books. The only black images in these books are images of black people sitting down, listening to white instruction. From Adam to Noah, from Abraham to Moses, from Jesus to Muhammad, all of these prophets were black people, but in the Jehovah's Witnesses books, all of them are white. Every one of them. And then they added insult to injury. They made that book called Exodus and had a little white boy, a little Caucasian boy playing God. Are you kidding me? We don't protest stuff like that. That's what I mean when I say the door to our common sense has been completely shut. I saw that movie and I was so appalled by that. They got a little Caucasian boy with blue eyes playing God. I mean, this is what they're throwing at us right now. And ain't nobody talking about it, so that's why I'm like, you know what? We have a duty right now. And I am very thoroughly convinced of what that duty is. And that duty is to say this every chance we get. Jesus did